try it because my videos are not uploading right now. So there's a backlog of them, and I just want to get the word out because you're all asking. So, anyway, the big news is, if you haven't heard it yet, is that I am moving to Austin, Texas from Maui after 18 years of being in Maui. So, similar story. Spirit guided me to move to Hawaii when I lived in, because I grew up in Monterey, California. That's the area I was in at the time. And it's like Hawaii, Hawaii, Hawaii kept coming up constantly. And I was teaching fourth grade at a Christian school at that time. Um, and I even had my students, we all learned about Hawaii together. That's kind of funny. But I remember a friend was like, Shia, why not? And I was just like, because it just sounded like a fantasy at first. It's like, who just up and moves to Hawaii? But, I was like, well, if my heart wants to do that and that's the message I'm getting, then who am I to stand in the way? And it was kind of a choice of like, do I love myself enough to give me that gift? And followed my heart. And gosh, that was one of the best decisions of my life, to listen and just do it and jump. Um, yeah, that was huge. And I ended up in Waikiki first, and lived in Oahu for 5 years before Spirit then said, all your people, your like-minded people, they're all in Maui, because Maui's kind of the white hippie island, and it's also more rural and not so populated and stuff. So at any rate, here we are 18 years later. I actually took a break in San Diego and traveling and stuff for 4 years, in the midst of that as well. But what happened is a week ago, I was doing my morning meditation, and they were very careful about dropping that seed because they're like, oh, we don't want her to freak out, because I had no concept of moving at all in my awareness. And so they dropped in like Austin, Texas, and I was like, oh my God, really? And yet I was super happy about it because it felt so right. And my mom moved during COVID. She went from Carmel, California, where I grew up in that area, all the way to Tennessee to be near my brother and some grandkids. And she was like, I just knew I wasn't going to evolve the way I needed to in that environment. And I said, that's it perfectly. That's totally what it is. And that's why Spirit leads the way it does. Gosh, I'm holding this with my hands and my arms getting tired. Okay, so I'll keep this short and sweet. So at any rate, yeah, it felt right. It felt really yeah, because I was feeling like I've been dying on the vine a little bit here in Hawaii, and I realized that, during COVID, it's a little bit of a unique experience being on an island because, especially an island that's dependent on tourism, which I think a lot of them are, is that, it's a ghost town when it's shut down, and there's no way to have income. There's not enough population locally to support the income of everyone without the tourists. And so it's been, financially not normal. And, after so many months of this, I'm kind of like ready to move forward and be thriving again. And, an island that's rural is also very predictable. And I'm one who likes to expand and grow all the time, and I'm always learning, and just only so many things here offered, and it's not like the mainland where there's a ton of stuff offered all the time. So here I am in the process of selling everything, which I have a lot of beautiful things. And that's always fun because my friends benefit from that big time, and so does everyone else who comes to the sale, because I have an affinity for beautiful things. What can I say? I'm a fashionista and a costumista, and have a lot of goddess items, and so it's kind of fun actually going through this process, and I'm sorting everything and deciding what I'm keeping. And so anyway, please reach out to me if you live in Texas, or gosh, that means I'll be on the mainland, so I guess I'll be more reachable. And I definitely am, started the process of just getting familiar with things in Austin, and figuring out where I'm going to land and all that good stuff. So everything's in process, and it's all quite exciting. It feels like a magic carpet ride, and which is kind of nice because it's been pretty stagnant on the island since COVID. At least that's how it's felt to me. It was very healing, but I also need to have more, intellectual stimulation and more things offered that I can plug into. And so anyway, here I go. And I'm shooting for the end of July, so it's going to be around there. It gives me a little time to get everything ready. So just wanted you to know what's up with me.